think that's it. We should be
Or do
live.
I have to?
I think you're all good, Craig, mate. Right, guys, welcome to another TLB Success interview on this horrendous day down here in the northeast. It's absolutely pissing down in rain. Joined by one of my clients, Craig Sorden, who's absolutely smashed his 12-week blueprint, and he's kindly give us 10 minutes just to share his revelations. Hopefully inspire any guys who are watching this behind the scenes. Yeah, just show what's possible when you get the right help. So, Craig, if you just want to give a quick intro, a bit about you, your businesses, etc.
Problem. Hi everyone. Yeah, my name's Craig, as Chris has already gone through. I'm a property professional. I've been in property for about 20 years now. I've been self-employed for approximately 8 or 9 years. So I've gone through all the struggles that you have to go through as a business owner. Didn't particularly plan it out very well because I also had children at the same time. I was setting up businesses. My first self-employed business was set up about 5 years ago, and it involved the period where my wife was pregnant, and sadly, when my daughter was in the early stages, so I was very busy at that time as well. So that was bad timing. And the second time round, I've got a son who's 2, and surprise, surprise, I set up my business approximately 2 years ago. So yeah, timing's everything, as I say, and my timing for setting up businesses isn't great. But yeah, I've got a few businesses based in Middlesbrough. Obviously, it comes with a lot of work, stress, long hours, and I'm still really getting the business up and running to be known. We've done very well, hence being busy, but I'm still got a lot of hard work to do, which
Yes.
partially is what was causing the problem.
So you're very much in the growing phase, aren't you? The building.
It is, yeah, and
Yeah.
still being very much hands-on. We have got a good team, but I'm still very much hands-on, trying to
Yeah.
run the business and build it.
So juggling kids, obviously relationship, and then multiple businesses. You're just getting pulled in every direction, which leads us on nicely to like where were you at before we first got together, really?
Not a very good place, to be honest. I was really struggling with trying to decide on where I could spend my time, and you've only got so much time in a day. When you're building the business and you're trying to be a good husband, or you're trying to be a dad to newborn children or toddler age, as it was the second time around when I had my young son and I had a toddler age daughter, it was really difficult because you need to concentrate on every aspect of your life, and you need to invest time. You need to invest time in your business. You need to invest time in your relationship with your wife. You need to invest time in your relationship with your kids, which I've always said family comes first, but that comes in different forms. You want to provide for your family. You want your kids to maybe have the things that you didn't have when you were younger. So you've got that tricky decision to make, and you don't know which way to push yourself. And you can do your best, but go home feeling like you failed at work, you failed at being a husband, and you failed at being a dad because you haven't had the time to concentrate anywhere enough.
Hmm.
So you go through a lot of beating yourself up, and even though you've done your best, you beat yourself up. So
Yeah.
even if you do well at work, you don't think you've done well enough at home, or if you have a good weekend at home with your family, you go back to work and you're behind, and you haven't rang that person back on Friday, and you haven't done that report you have to do, and you haven't done your planning ahead for your appointments, and you haven't paid that bill, and you haven't done this. So either way, I was starting and finishing the week feeling like I hadn't done enough.
So very much like stuck in like a hamster wheel, just constantly fucking chasing your tail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult. I think it's like somebody said it's like the donkey and the carrot. You hold a carrot out on a stick, and the donkey thinks it's getting somewhere, but ultimately it's no further forward. And it's frustrating.
Yeah. So if you were being honest, how were you coping with it? What was your escape to say? Most men can relate to it.
Yeah. Well, the main issue, I wasn't coping with it, but obviously being a business owner, you're the one who's meant to lead by example, and you are the one who offer your shoulder to cry on to other people. You offer your advice to other people. Um, I'm very good friends with like a few of my staff in particular that I've known a long time, but you don't really want to go to them and say, look, I'm sort of struggling at the moment. I don't know how to get this sort of routine worked. I'm getting unhealthy. I'm stressed. I can't sleep. And you struggle to do that at home as well. Obviously, you're the man of the house. You try and lead by this old-fashioned sort of being the figurehead, and you don't want to show weakness, and you don't want to go home to your wife and say, you know what, I really cannot do what I'm currently doing for much longer, and I don't know how to swing between being a dad and being a husband and being a business owner, and you don't really want to weigh them down with that. So you just, well, I'm not sure everybody does it, but I found myself being quiet, reserved, and just really probably drinking far too much, where I was using that as my stress relief. So have a few drinks, takes the edge off. You feel your stress levels going from here. Each drink, it brings it down. You get to that point where you start to feel the effect of a drink. It sort of makes you a bit more jovial, and you sort of laugh and joke a bit more and things like that. But then it's not the cure. And then that just affects you the following day. You wake up and you feel like shit, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah. So you're putting on like a kind of a front to everybody else, but behind the scenes, that's how you were dealing with it, right?
Yeah, and that became the norm. The feeling like that became the norm. The tiredness became the norm. The sort of stressed, beating yourself up became the norm. Having a drink on a night and eating. Some days I wouldn't eat literally from 6 o'clock, waking up all the way through to 5:30 on the night. Other days I would cram a lot in, where I'd be eating food on the go, grabbing anything that's available, including like Greggs, McDonald's, all shit that, to be fair, I don't really enjoy, but it was convenient. I saw one of your videos where you were sat outside the Greggs, which I still laugh about to this day, where you were sat there saying you've got no time and stressing about time, and you're eating your Greggs.
Yeah.
And obviously I had time to go to Greggs or to go to McDonald's, to queue up, to sit in the car, to wait, scroll through my phone for 15 minutes thinking, check on the football results or laughing at something I've seen on Facebook. But then I didn't have time to plan ahead. I didn't have time to make a proper meal. I didn't have time to plan my diary, to set aside time for myself, just to have a breather. So it was probably quite sort of unbalanced thinking, really.
So very much a stuck mindset, isn't it? Like, this is my situation. I am stuck. I cannot change this.
Yeah, and I think the first time I spoke to you, I was quite honest and upfront, and pretty much said that there's no solution to it.
Yeah,
I genuinely
even
believe there
when
wasn't a
when you
solution.
joined, you still were apprehensive that I could help you.
Well, yeah, I just thought like this is me forever, and I just said like Chris is saying he'll fix it or help me fix it. He doesn't know what my life's like. He'll soon find out. I expected 4 weeks in you to say, actually, Craig, you're right. You've got no way forward. Here's your money back.
Imagine.
Sorry, mate. I've done my best. And I was like half sort of expecting that, thinking genuinely, there's nothing that can be done in this scenario. There's nothing I can do. I can't create any more hours. I can't work anymore. I can't do anymore. And that was it. So I'd accepted that that was my new regime and outlook in life in general.
So this was arguably like the last roll of the dice, like fucking let's give it a crack, basically.
Yeah, strangely, I was expecting it to. Well, I wasn't expecting it to fail. I wanted it to succeed, but I wanted some sort of proof that I could do something, because I generally believe that I couldn't. And you're obviously saying that there is time in the day. My attitude was, well, there's not. How can I get any more time in that day? You were saying that you could plan ahead and you could eat healthy. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you can't eat healthy. My attitude was, well, I am busy. How else can I eat? You were saying that you can create a better relationship at home with your partner and your kids, and my attitude was, well, can't. I'm too busy when I'm at home. But that busyness at home was doing work that could be delegated. It was work that I could feasibly fit in elsewhere, but also I was fitting in the time to have a drink at home, where my routine was get home, eat, a little bit of time with the kids, laptop out, get a drink out of the fridge, and do some work. So
and that just becomes
routine,
isn't it? Without even realizing, not even thinking about it, really.
Yeah, it was like trying to squeeze in my family and the kids around work that didn't necessarily need doing. It would need doing at some point. It didn't need doing then. And then obviously my soothing side of it was to have a drink while I was doing the work. So I got some enjoyment out of doing the work, but it was at the cost of everything else, including myself.
And there's a lot of, I'd say 90% of the guys I work with have the same issues. Hence, the blueprint fits well with your lifestyles when you're working with business owners. But
it does. It's tricky because a lot of people have said, and I think I said to you a few times, is that when people have seen me making a success of what I've done with yourself, they've been saying, well, couldn't you have just done that yourself?
Mm.
And by admittance, yes, in theory, I could have done all this myself, but then the proof of the pudding is no, I couldn't, because I'd had 8 years of struggling to get anything that fitted, anything that I enjoyed, or anything that worked. So the answer is no, I couldn't do it myself.
Yeah.
And if I'd gone on for another 14 weeks and I hadn't sort of jumped into doing this with you, I would have been in exactly the same position as I was in the beginning. I would have been still drinking, I would have been heavier than I was, I would have been more stressed than I was, and there was going to be no end to it unless I'd done something positive in regards to trying to change.
Yeah, so in the world we live in, we don't have an information problem. We all pretty much know what we need to do. It's just not doing it. We have an implementation problem. That's what we struggle to do when we've got so much going on. You just haven't got that headspace to think for yourself, have you? So that's when you hire a coach to show you, give you the direction and structure, and you can just follow, build the habits, and then as you know, it's just on autopilot, isn't it? It's who you become, and so yeah.
Like routine, but it's having that third party pair of eyes on it, because you get so overwhelmed with like your life and you get so wrapped up in things, you can't, like they say, you can't see the wood for the trees, and
Yeah.
you think that you've tried every solution. You think you're trying to work out where you can save time to do things, to eat healthily, what can, and you understanding of food and things is a big part of it as well. Like food for me used to be, I used to eat what I used to enjoy when I had time to enjoy it, and there was no, what does that food contain, how many calories in it, and admittedly, I was amazed that I didn't get bigger, because I think some days, including the alcohol, I was probably consuming 6,000 calories in a day.
Yeah, but for
Maybe
reference,
more.
you're 6'4", is that right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So big fella, tall fella.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. I've got hollow legs when it comes to drink, so sadly,
yeah.
I don't get to that point where I can shut off if I can drink and drink and drink. So in hindsight, yeah, over the course of probably 6 bad years of bad routine, I'm amazed. I wasn't 27 stone, and I'm 17 stone one, because that amount of calorie consumption.
Rather like I think you mentioned like a Tyson Fury kind of where he
Yeah,
was in his spot, very rough, dark
yeah.
place. So
And he had similar issues probably as well, like to a certain degree, and he was probably trying to get solace in similar things in regards to
mm,
like drinking, probably eating poor food. But again, it's a routine, isn't it? It shows it happens to us all, really.
mm. So before we go on to why this did work for you, like one comment that you had at the start was that, oh, you've already mentioned it, but a friend was like, well, why don't you just go to the gym? I can come to the gym with you. Why don't we just do that together? Why do you think the gym wasn't the solution or the sole solution anyway?
I don't think I would have got enough out of it. Obviously, exercise is part of it, and obviously the camaraderie going to the gym would have been good. But I think it's a deeper understanding, and really, it's a lot more. Like I said, gym trains your body, but you need to train your mind a little bit as well and get stronger
Mm,
mentally. You need to know how to handle stress. Like if you go to the gym, I could have replaced eating unhealthy and potentially having several drinks. I could have replaced that with the gym, but then that wouldn't have cured the problem. It would have just been a different way of taking the edge off. And
yeah.
so, yeah, long term, I don't think that would have fixed. It's more interactive. You feel like you're learning rather than just going and burning energy. You're learning things that are going to last you a lot longer. The gym, if you don't go for 2 weeks, you haven't had any benefit in those 2 weeks. If you learn on this program about eating, redoing your regimes and your sort of rotas so you free up time, you manage your stress more, and you know signs of your stress coming so you can do something about it. You get into enjoying exercise again rather than a quick blitz at the gym. You think throughout the day, I'm going to go for a walk in the morning, I'm going to go for a walk to my appointments rather than going in the car. I'm going to have my lunch and then I'm going to go for a walk after it. I'm going to try and get a walk in before I go home. If it's good weather, I'm going to take my kids out for a walk when I do get home. Don't stop off at the shop for a drink, get home sooner, take the kids around the block on their bikes. They like interacting with you. They want to go out on the bikes, they want to go for a walk. They don't want to see the dad coming in and straight into work, or grabbing his gym kit and going straight out the door and not seeing him. So this is something you can implement while still being in the household. You don't have to go to the gym.
Mm.
You can learn it and be the person at home. So I think that's a big thing for me.
So the biggest difference from what you've just said there's the mindset shift of being stuck to then you're finding ways you can versus you can't now, as you've just
Yeah.
described. I can do this
Mm.
there, I can do this there, I can do this there. And it's very simple. It's not rocket science. It's just more awareness, more knowledge, just having a routine that works for you. That's pretty much
Yeah.
how it
And I
goes.
think as well, they go to the gym with somebody, it's reliancy on that person, because I know at that point, if they'd gone to the gym and I was due to go, I would have gone. If I'd gone and my mate texted me an hour before and said, "Oh, you know what, something's cropped up, I can't go," the chances are I would have deviated the car off the route to the gym, gone to the shop, bought a few drinks, and gone home and had a night off. So the gym wouldn't have solved all the issues that were sort of going on in regards to like sort of the routine, the bad rota, the eating, the drinking, and everything else involved. I think it would have just sort of added an extra activity, made me a bit more sociable, maybe, but it wouldn't have cured the actual root cause of being stressed to death 24/7.
Yeah. So would you say that, in summary, because you pretty much went through it, but would you say the reason this has worked so well for you is because it's solved the root causes of your problems versus just the surface level of what everyone believes they need, the diet and exercise kind of thing?
Mm.
Mm.
It helped identify them. 'Cause obviously, like one of the first sessions that we did online, it was going through like where do you see sort of like the problems or what the problem areas, and then obviously you work through and you find a solution for it, and then even if you're doubtful about the solution, you give it a go, you report in the following week to obviously see how you went, and you've got a week to try and work on that problem, and you've had a third party influence on saying, well, why don't you try this, do that, and you've got some input and you've got some advice. So yeah, I think it's important to have somebody that you're accountable to, and somebody outside of your circle where if you're struggling on a certain part to get that, to try and get your head around it, you've got somebody that you can go to and give you some advice who doesn't know your family, doesn't know necessarily your friends, doesn't know people in your circle. So you can be quite honest and blunt with them about anything that you're sort of struggling with or any issues that you're facing where you need some advice on. It's easier to take advice off a stranger, I think, than sometimes asking
Yeah.
for advice off your mum or your dad or your wife or even your best mate at times, because you want those around you to think that you're sort of invincible and
Mm.
whatever. But yeah, I think somebody third party makes a big difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, no fear of judgment. It's just honest, open. This is what I'm struggling with. Let's solve it kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So that leads us on nicely to the results. I know I've posted about it already this morning, but if you just want to recap, what results would you say the standout results for yourself? What did you lose in terms of weight loss to begin with?
Yeah. Well, weight loss was obviously a big thing, and 38 pounds is a huge weight loss. And it just shows really it was all false weight I was putting on. That wasn't meant to be my natural weight. It was weight through excess and bad routine. But I think in all honesty, the weight was a byproduct. I wanted to sort out the sort of lifestyle and just general well-being and being happier as
Mm.
a person. 'Cause if you're not happy, you generally eat worse and you drink more and you tend to interact with people not at the level that you want to. So that was really the main focus. The weight is a good byproduct, and I had that down as a number that I wanted to aim towards. But obviously, all the other aspects were more important, and they were probably harder than the weight loss,
Mm.
because the weight loss, it happens if you sort out your routine. But sorting out your routine is the hard bit, because your body's so
Yeah.
used to doing things the way you've been doing it. So I'm happy with the weight loss, but sorting out how to get exercise in. I just thought I could not get exercise in. I've got a young family at home. I used to wake up tired at about 6, 6:15. Earlier now that my son's been waking up earlier. I used to sit downstairs drinking energy drinks and coffee on the sofa while he toddled around the front room thinking, well, I can't do any exercise now. He's up, so that's it done until I go to work. I'd come to work straight in the office, coffee and Red Bull again, start doing my work, dashing about, slightly unorganized in hindsight, grab food on the go, get back to the office, sort of sit mildly, sort of stressed, a little bit tired from the night before if I'd had a few drinks or I hadn't slept properly.
Mm.
Then make an excuse to go for a couple of drinks after work, or if I didn't go for a couple of drinks after work, I'd definitely go to the shop on the way home, buy a couple of drinks, and then you start the whole
Cycle again.
routine all over again.
Yeah.
So that was probably about 3, 4 years worth of routine, which was
Yeah.
my routine. So sorting that routine out and getting rid of those habits was the big success for me.
Absolutely. And then how has that impacted, let's start with your family life, because you've had a big impact and you've influenced them as well, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I think you rub off each other, and obviously, like trying to get the kids involved. I try and get the kids involved. If I get home early, take them around the block. My daughter likes going on a bike. My little lad likes toddling along or take him out in his pram. There is time to do it. If I've got half an hour, 45 minutes in my day to go to the pub on the way back or to go to the shop, I've got that time to get back early and take them for a walk. But you can't really see that.
Mm.
So yeah, the impact, not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect anytime soon, but there's been massive changes.
Mhm.
You feel like you're more involved. You feel like they want you to be more involved.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's worth changing just for that. And in hindsight, you think, why on earth did I not do this earlier? But obviously, you don't think properly
Yeah.
sometimes.
Shout out to your missus as well, 'cause she's lost some weight as well, right?
Yeah, she has. Yeah, and obviously she's first one in, so she's planning ahead now. She's doing Slimming World meals and things like that, which is obviously good. You go home to a cooked meal rather than we both used to be as bad as each other, dashing about. She's busy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't really plan what we're having for tea tonight until we set foot in the house. Panic, panic, panic. Kids are hungry. We're hungry. What we're gonna have for tea? Who knows? Have we taken anything out? No, we haven't. And you can get in the routine of rushing in, either getting a takeaway or you eat out or you do something unplanned, which generally isn't healthy. You need to plan ahead really to be healthy. So she's really taken that by the scruff of its neck and jumped on the bandwagon. She's doing her exercise as well. I think sometimes if you both drag each other down or you lift each other up,
Yeah.
and if one, I must have been a heavy weight of dragging down by my own admittance.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised she didn't sink under my then weight, but yeah, it's good to see like you work together. It shows that you are a team deep
Yeah.
down.
Family unit. And then obviously business as well. So they've started to take note as well, right?
Yeah, well, my partner at work, Peter, he's luckily enough that I think he's only put on about 2 pounds since the day he was born. He doesn't put weight on. He doesn't get fat. Like I get,
Blessed.
I've never got fat, but I get fatter.
Yeah.
So he's been doing exercise with me, going for walks in the morning where I get in earlier. And we've got a beautiful park across the road, Albert Park, and our office looks out onto this beautiful park that's just got a big sign above it saying, "Come and exercise with me, come and exercise with me." So
Yeah.
rather than exercising for 2 years, I've just been looking out the window, watching all the other people running around.
That looks nice. I should do that one day.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Having a Greg bacon sandwich and 4 cans of Red Bull, thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be out there?
Wouldn't it be nice to
But
have the
instead,
energy to do that?
I know exactly, yeah. It's just like, it's ridiculous when you think back. It's got the prime, one of the only places in Middlesbrough, you've got a beautiful green area right outside. It's been looking me in my face for
Yeah.
2 years. But me and Peter now go for a couple of walks a day, like normally first thing in the morning, normally after our lunch. I think it's probably about 1,800 to 2,000 steps around the outside. So you go around that twice. I normally do it twice in the morning after I've dropped my lad off at nursery or mum and dad's house. So I can easily get, just by walking around that park, 8,000 steps done in a day.
Yeah. I used to run around it in my uni days. It's a cracking little park, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. And like in all honesty as well, even in winter, as long as it's not horrendous rain, it's nice. It looks like a really nice park. You wouldn't think you're in Middlesbrough.
So
So yeah,
just to summarize, what do you think your one, two, or top three revelations would be over the past 12 weeks, do you think?
Yeah.
And I'll put you on the spot, but what's like the three things that was like, right, that's changed us?
in regards to things that have ultimately changed, is just taking time out, just have a think and a review, and obviously ask for advice and have a third party opinion on it. Because, like I said at the beginning, you generally think there's no room for maneuver, but you don't give yourself any time. You just end up running around and dashing about, and you don't sit and think. Like if you're running a business, you take time out quite a lot. Decide, you review things, you review your numbers, you review what you're doing, not doing. You plan ahead, you change things if they aren't working. But then, seemingly with your own health, you're quite happy just to run round and round and round, and you don't plan ahead, you don't make decisions, you don't review things, you don't look at areas that you need to improve in, you don't instigate change. So that time to think, I think, really is a massive thing. that leads on to like doing the exercise, it leads on to the planning of your meals, it leads on to all the other things. So yeah, I think that's probably the big sort of thing that stands out, and the biggest thing I needed doing it was always there. Also, as well, you test your own willpower. Your willpower's always there. I think I put one of my posts on your page. That part of your job for me is that you press that ignition button again, because I used to be fit and I used to enjoy exercise. But your flame goes out for various reasons, and it's the hardest thing in the world to then reignite it. And I couldn't do it. And again, this is like when you've done that yourself, I could have physically done it myself, but I didn't want to do it myself. So just to get yourself going again, take pride in yourself. You get to the point where you don't really care to a certain degree about yourself anymore. You worry about your business, you worry about other things around you, your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your kids, you worry about your friends. I used to give openly advice, which in hindsight was dangerous, because I must have been the worst person for advice. But you give advice to your friends on their life and their struggles, but then you can't see it in yourself.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't
So again, it links in with the first one, but you sort of like self-review, and you need to get that sort of desire back in yourself and that fire in your belly again to think, actually, I can turn it around.
Get your mojo back. That's the word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's so important, because like if you lose that, it feels like you're just a shell walking about. So like you literally do not give a monkey's about yourself to a certain degree. Like you're a cog in your own wheel, where you're just there to generate money. You're there to pay the bills. You're there to pick the kids up if you need to pick the kids up. You don't feel like you're part of it. You're just like a role where you are there, but you're not there. If that makes sense. It's strange.
Yeah. So just existing really versus actually living it. Yeah.
Somebody said to me, like, I've got a friend who's bought some houses from us, and he said the same thing. He's gone through a health kick. He's far above me, doing like running marathons and things now. But he said himself, you don't know how bad you were feeling until you feel better.
Yeah.
There's that feeling sort of numb and groggy and tired and stressed, that becomes the norm, and you don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that becomes your norm, and that's your bar. Like, if I feel like that in a day, I'm all right, because that's my normal level. And then you do feel better, and you do start sleeping properly, and you do start feeling like you're more in control. And you look back and you think, why did you let that go on so long? Like, how did you get yourself so sort of run down with things, and why didn't you take action sooner?
That's the thing. Most business owners say they don't have time, but they're wasting so much of the time. Like wasting your life feeling like that.
Yeah.
Like for years, some even decades, when they come to me, it's like, oh, I've struggled with this for a good decade. It's like 10 years of feeling like that. When it all comes down to just going, you know what it is? I'm helping everybody else, but I'm the one who needs a bit of help and support. It's as simple as that.
But like everybody else, like your partner, if your partner said that they had, like, they were getting pain in the foot, you'd say, go to the doctors, don't be daft, sort it out, go to the doctors. In your business, if you've got an area that the business is struggling in, you identify that and you do something about it, you arrange a meeting, you jump on it. Why is that happening? What can we do to solve it? What do we need to put in place? How can we put things in place so we can get ourselves out of this sticky patch in the side of the business that's struggling? But then with yourself, it's like, you simply disregard it because you're too busy with everything else. You just like, you don't think yourself as a priority.
Yeah.
And you feel quite selfish sometimes by talking about yourself as a priority. And a lot of people are scared to say you've got to look after number one.
Yeah, the whole oxygen mask thing, as the teacher on the planes, like, you've got to help yourself before you can help your kids and your wife.
And the reason is, you help yourself so you are in a better position to help other people. So if you're a bit of a mess yourself, then what qualifies you to be giving people advice? How can you help anybody else if you're probably worse off than they are? So it's a strange thing, but like, putting yourself as a priority, you've got to be a priority, because if people rely on you, and hopefully they do rely on you, because it means you've got good friends and family, if you're being relied on, then if something happens to you, or you just like totally lose control altogether, then you're no use to anybody anymore.
And just to sorry, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say the understanding of food as well. That's a massive thing. Like,
they don't teach it in school, right? For whatever reason, the basics of nutrition. You don't need to know all the fucking things that go on with it, but you just need the basic
like
level.
protein.
Yeah.
protein just makes sense, and you can have nice food on protein, but then obviously there's the benefits of having protein over other things. But again, you don't know. I wouldn't have got that from going to the gym. I would have probably been given these like power milkshakes and things like that, but I wouldn't have a clue what they're for.
Neck and the mat.
I know exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Right, just to
So by doing
conclude,
that,
Craig, because it's been about half an hour, and most people haven't got the attention span these days to keep
okay.
watching things. If there's a guy who's struggling with similar things to you as you were, what, about 13, 14 weeks ago now, maybe, what would your advice be to him?
Do something about it.
Yeah.
Really just do something about it. You've got to be brave to do it.
Yeah.
Do something about it. Stop whinging. Stop feeling like shit, to be fair, and do something about it, because it's not going to change unless you're proactive in doing it.
Nothing changes unless you change. So, yeah.
Correct.
Right. I think there's been huge value in this one of the best ones we've done, because you've been so raw and honest. And I just know there's so many men in the exact same boat. And hopefully they get to see this video and that can change their lives. So, yeah.
Be the next person getting the boobies out on Facebook, like my wife said to me.
That's right. Hey, tell you what, he hasn't even been in the gym and he's looking pretty hench. So, fucking hell. Fair one.
But yeah, like 100% do something about it. It
Yeah.
doesn't take that much. You can soon change your routine.
Yeah. Right. Awesome. Thanks for your time. And if anybody
No
needs some
problem.
help,
Thanks to you.
reach out and I'll see what I can do. See you in the
Perfect.
next one.